Happy New Year and welcome to another coffee tasting. My name is Aaron Taylor and I'm going to be your host. Today we are trying the Starbucks Small Lot Coffee Microblend number 21. The Microblend 21 is a very special espresso roast that we serve at the reserve bars. It is a mix between Guatemalan and Kenya beans. So it's going to be really well balanced. With the Kenya beans, we're going to get some of those bright acidic notes, and with the Guatemala, we're going to see a lot of those caramely milk chocolate notes. Um, so with the Microblend 21, it is a small lot coffee, and then the name for it, the Microblend 21, it actually resembles, or it's named after the golden ratio found in nature. So that's really cool. We're going to talk a little bit about the golden ratio after we drink some of our coffee. But today we are brewing the coffee two different ways. We're brewing it on the French press and the pour over. And so the reason why I like to brew the coffee two different ways, if you guys are new to the live stream, is because I like to explore the different coffee flavors that we get through different brewing methods, but from the same blend of coffee. And so because we're brewing it different ways, fully immersed, paper filter, we're going to get different flavors that come through. With the French press, we're going to see a lot more of those darker, bitter notes come through. And with the French press, or with the pour over, we're going to see more of those bright acidic notes. So with the pour over, we're going to see more of those Kenya notes come through. And with the French press, we're going to see more of the Guatemala caramely milk chocolate notes come through. So with the golden ratio, the golden ratio is a number that's often found in nature, and that represents pretty much like everything nature, how things grow. There's like a mathematic equation to it to figure out what numbers fall along in the golden ratio. I know that 21 is on that list. I know it starts off at like 0, 1, and then 1, 2, and then 2, 5. And then as the initial number progresses, the secondary number eventually gets higher and higher and higher. So 21 is in the list of numbers that falls along the golden ratio. And you'll see the golden ratio everywhere in life. So like if you're, say if you're looking at like a branch of a bush, the way those leaves branch out and grow is based off of the golden ratio. I forget the exact exact word for it, but there's a word for the golden ratio when certain things grow with certain numbers. There are other examples as well with the golden ratio. So, for example, the shells of snails, the swirl pattern in the snail shell follows the golden ratio. So as it swirls down and down, and then you guys have probably seen like the picture of the swirl going through a square, following the edges, and then as it follows the edges, it goes into a smaller and smaller and smaller square. That is a visual representation of the golden ratio. Similar, I mean, if you were to put a shell snail next to that, it would look extremely similar because they're based off of the golden ratio. So it's the reason why they named this coffee Microblend 21 is because the brewers and the roasters of this coffee considered it to be one of the best espresso blends that they have ever made. They're so proud of the flavors that come out in this coffee that they decided to name it after the golden ratio. They themselves think that there could be no better balanced espresso. But I mean that's to each their own really, because this blend is actually going to be a little bit lighter than your normal espresso roast. It's going to have, like I said, more of those caramely milk chocolate notes, and then that Kenya is really going to brighten it up a bit. It pairs really well with like steamed milk, so it's going to be really good in a latte. And then also As a doppio espresso, it's really good because you're getting more rich, smooth flavors versus the roasty, bold flavors that you get from a core espresso. So the flavor is going to be much more different. I'm excited because I love Latin American coffees and I love the caramely milk chocolate notes that you get from Latin American coffees. Um, and then with the Kenya, that's gonna mellow out some of that milk chocolate dark feeling towards the end and bring out some of those bright flavors. So with the pour over, we're gonna see more of those Kenya notes come through, those bright acidic flavors. And then with the French press, we're gonna see more of those robust milk chocolate flavors come through in the end. But that caramely sweetness should be pretty predominant as well. So our small lot coffees are really cool because they come from small regions of the world. And so what that means is that we're getting a specific flavor that that region has to offer. So when you take, like, say for instance, a core bag of Ethiopia, you're getting coffees from different parts of Ethiopia, north side of Ethiopia, south side of Ethiopia, east side of Ethiopia. You're going to have a whole lot of flavors jam-packed into one bag. And so with all those flavors being jam-packed into one bag, you can't really taste those individual flavors. And so with the small lot coffees, we're getting coffees directly from a specific region and only that region. So like for this instance, we're getting a very specific region of Guatemala and a very specific region of Kenya. And because of that, we're going to have very specific caramely milk chocolate flavors from the Kenya and those bright juicy notes from the Guatemala is going to have the caramel milk chocolate notes and the Kenya is going to have those bright acidic notes. And then the other really cool part about the small lot coffees is the fact that they're impacted more by the sales. So with the small lot coffees, most of them have their on-site processing plants where they process the beans there and then they source it directly to Starbucks. And then Starbucks will roast them in Seattle or on another roasting site. And so what that means is that the farmers are actually doing business directly with Starbucks rather than like a third party where they sell it to someone to distribute it for them. They're actually distributing it directly to Starbucks. That means the farmers are getting more money out of it, more bang for their buck. They're bypassing that middleman. So that's very important because a lot of these families, they rely on coffee exports. And when you rely so heavy on coffee exports, that means you're making money once or twice a year based on where you live on the coffee belt and how much you yield. And when you only make money one time or two times a year, that means you have to make it last all year round. So that's very, very hard to do. So the fact that we're able to cross out that middleman and directly source it from the farmers and help them become more sustainable by allowing them to obtain more money so that they can invest more and then even just feed themselves and grow. It's very important just to be a part of that. So it's really cool to learn all these different stories that we take part of, especially with these small lot coffees and how much we impact the different parts of the world. So with the Microblend 21, I'm very excited to taste this one as a regular pour over and a French press because I have actually only had the Microblend 21 as an espresso. And so with the espresso, it's really, really good. A lot of those bright acidic flavors come through as an espresso, but you still get that like milk chocolate caramely mouthfeel towards the end, which is really, really nice. I'm not a big fan of that bold roasty flavor, which is why I tend to go for like the blonde espresso when I get an espresso beverage. But with the Microblend 21, it is really good. Perfect for anyone who likes a lighter roast espresso, not that bold roasty intense flavor. But like I said, this is like a personal preference. Like, you know, if you like that bold roasty flavor, that's going to be your flavor and that's what you want to go for. Alright. And so with the pour over, like I said, we're going to get a lot more of the acidic notes come through, but we're still going to see some more of those caramely milk chocolate mouthfeel towards the end. But the acidicness is going to really come through because a lot of that sediment is going to be captured inside the paper filter, allowing that caramely milk chocolate bitterness to kind of take a back seat. So we're going to go ahead and snip our coffee. And so right off the bat, I initially smell that bright acidicness, but then also it's complemented very well with the milk chocolate carameliness. You can smell you can almost smell the caramely sweetness. Ooh. So you immediately right off the bat, you can tell why that is an espresso roast. It does have a slight roastiness to it, but it's not it's not the same kind of roasty that you get from an espresso. It's that milk chocolatey caramel mouthfeel with a little bit of roastiness to it, and that's because the beans are roasted slightly darker than other blends. So that's where that roasty flavor comes through. So that roasty on top of the caramel milk chocolate flavor, and then the initial sip, you're going to get that bright acidicness. And then as my palate is cleared, what I'm noticing is that a little bit of that acidicness is kind of lingering on, but it's not too intense like some of the other blends that we've tasted in the past. Like say for instance the Kenya that we had a really strong acidic presence after the palate is cleansed. And so like right now I'm feeling the acidicness on the sides of my tongue, but it's not as predominant. It's very bearable. So I would not shy away from a pour over because the acidicness isn't too intense. It's actually well balanced as a pour over, which is really nice. Because sometimes when you get like a pour over for certain blends, the acidity comes out too strong, and it's almost like you're like putting like a flower petal on your tongue, and it leaves your palate very dry. That is a good cup of coffee. Alright, so let's plunge this guy now. Alright, so now we're going to do the coffee press of the Microblend 21. Wow. Okay. I just want to say something right now. That second sip of coffee, as I took in more coffee and I really let it sit on my tongue, the flavor that I'm getting, like the after flavor that I'm getting right now, is literally if I just ate some M&Ms. Like if I ate some M&Ms and then now my palate is cleared and now I've got like that milk chocolate aftertaste. Like literally, that's exactly what it tastes like right now. It's not nearly as sweet, obviously, but you know when you eat M&Ms and you let your palate clear, a lot of that sweetness is gone, and you're just left over with that bitter chocolate mouthfeel, and that's what I'm tasting right now. Like I honestly, the palate on my tongue is telling me that I just had some M&Ms, which is really cool. All right. So now we're going to try the coffee press. And so with the coffee press, we're going to see a lot more of those dark notes come through, and that acidity is going to take a little bit of a back seat. So I'm assuming we're going to taste more of those milk chocolate mouth flavors with more of that roastiness. I'm assuming more of that roastiness is going to come through. So we're going to go in and sniff our coffee press. Oh yeah, so immediately off the bat, I'm smelling more of those chocolate notes. It's very bold. Ooh, that's hot. So with the coffee press, the chocolate notes and the carameliness is definitely coming through a lot more. The acidicness is still slightly there. Definitely takes much more of a back seat in the French press. But right off the bat, you're getting that chocolatey mouth feel like you do after your palate clears. So on the French press, the Microblend 21 is exceptional. That coffee or the milk chocolate flavors really come through. It really reminds me of our Reserve cold brew, how that has such strong chocolate notes with it as well. And so with the coffee press, we're seeing a lot more of those bitters come through, and those bitters that we're tasting is going to be that chocolatey mouthfeel. So it's not a bad bitter. It's really good. If you add like a little bit of raw sugar, sweeten it up, it's going to really, really bring out that chocolatey flavor and almost make it taste like you've added essence of chocolate into the coffee. But there really is no added flavors. It's just what comes out in that specific blend of roast. So that's really cool to explore the different flavors that come out from different regions of coffee and how pronounced they come out in different brew methods. So for this particular roast, I really like the French press and I really like the pour over. And right now I actually don't know which one I prefer. I might prefer the pour over more just because the bitterness isn't so intense and it's so balanced with that Kenya that it's a very, very smooth cup of coffee. Okay, so my personal preference for this particular blend is going to be the pour over. Much more smoother. If you do like that really dark roasty espresso flavor, and you're going to have a lot of those milk chocolate flavors come through, the coffee press is the way to go for sure. It's still a really good cup of coffee. I like it a lot. But if I were to choose between the two on the Microblend 21, I would choose the pour over just because I like the balancedness of it. The bitters don't take too much of a front seat, and then the acidity, the acidicness balances it out really well. So it's not too acidic, not too bitter, very well balanced, and you got like that milk chocolate caramely mouth feel at the end that you're left over with, like you just had a handful of M&Ms and you're just savoring the flavor. It's really good. That is an exceptional cup of coffee, you guys. Yeah, so with the Microblend 21, we use this as our espresso to elevate our espresso beverages at the reserve bar. So that way we're getting a richer, smoother espresso flavor versus that robust, roasty, bold flavor that you get at an average Starbucks. And we use that espresso specifically to bring out some flavors in some of our specialty beverages. Like so we serve ice cream and we also have a dark chocolate mocha. And so with the ice cream, the chocolatiness and the carameliness of the espresso, that's smooth and rich, being poured over the ice cream, really accent that vanilla flavor in the ice cream, and then also really brings out that chocolate flavor in the espresso. So the ice cream and the coffee really go hand in hand when being paired together because they complement each other. It's not like one is complementing the other or the other one's complementing this one. They both have something to share with each other, where the vanilla brings out the chocolate and then the dark bitter espresso notes brings out the vanilla. So it's going to be a really good cup of espresso with a little bit of ice cream. Really, really good. And then also we have a dark chocolate mocha. And so with the dark chocolate mocha, with that higher cocoa count, you're going to have more chocolatey flavors. And then with the smooth, rich espresso flavor of the caramely milk chocolateness, it's going to be really balanced, rich, and creamy because we use the whole milk as a standard. So the dark chocolate mocha is tailored to be made with the Microblend 21 as well as our affogatos, just because of the caramely milk chocolate notes that come with that particular blend. It is really, really exceptional. And the fact that they named this particular blend after a the golden ratio that's found in nature is really, really cool, because I did some research on it, and I knew what the golden ratio was. I just didn't know what they called it. So now I know it's called the golden ratio, and we see it everywhere in the world when, like, say, like a plant grows one leaf in front and then two leaves below that. That right there is a golden ratio, the 1-2 ratio. And so you see a lot of nature being governed by this golden ratio equation. And it's very interesting. And the fact that the coffee growers and roasters were able to tribute this coffee to something that is naturally found in nature, uh, that we call the golden ratio, because all nature is pretty much evolves off of this mathematical structure, is really cool, because we're really saying that this cup of coffee can't really get any better. But I will say that it can't get any better for anyone who likes this particular flavor, because there are going to be some people that don't particularly like this blend because they're looking for more bolder or robust flavors. So I mean, it is personal preference on, like, the people who brew this think it's the golden ratio coffee. But I will give them that, because it is a really, really good balanced cup of coffee, and it is a really, really good espresso too. Alright, guys, that is it for today's coffee tasting. I want to thank everyone for joining me today. If you guys enjoyed today's coffee tasting, don't forget to like and subscribe, and then share this video with anyone who you might think will enjoy some coffee tastings and learning about coffee culture and what we do for the communities around the world. Thank you everyone for joining. Have a great new year, and hopefully this one is a good one.